working on stuff really, I can chalk that up to sort of why I got into the trades. Really, I mean, it teaches you a lot of life lessons. Tinkering around in the garage and being with my dad, and okay, this part has to come off. How don't let the piece win. You got to take it off. We got to replace it.
Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable HVACR podcast. If you guys are listening on the audio version, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, remember to leave a review. Help the show get out to more people. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to check out the live chat, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in wherever you listen to this. And if you guys support the Reliable HVACR channel, remember, I'm also on HVAC Nights, available on YouTube and any podcast platform. The full episodes and then clips are uploaded to our Instagram and TikTok. It's a live show every Thursday with two other guys. I got Jake, Cooling with Kraus. I got Curtis, the HVAC guy, two other big YouTubers, and we just kick back and take questions from the live chat, have some fun, joke around, and actually talk about our work week experiences that we've had with tools and different job sites. It's a great time. If you want to go check that out, remember to check out HVAC Nights. And I also want to thank a couple of the sponsors that make this show possible, like Jobber, my favorite CRM. If you guys need to get organized, better manage your business, Jobber is a perfect app for that. It's on your phone, it's on your tablet, it's on your computer, anywhere you have internet access, and you can invoice, quote, do your maintenance agreements, schedule jobs, get this customer hub where you can interact with your customers, send out reminders. It does so much for your business to help you free up your time at the end of the day. So if you guys want a free trial and discount, you can go to getjobber.com/reliable HVACR. Then we have VETO Pro Pack. I cannot tell you how many bags that I went through before finding out about this company with these high quality bags. Ever since I switched over, my bags have lasted so much more. I love the variety and the different uses for these bags. I mean, you can get creative with it. So like I said, go check out VetoProPack.com. Go look for a bag for yourself. You won't regret it. So thanks again to our awesome sponsors. Thanks again to everybody watching, listening. We have good conversations with good people. That's the whole premise here. And I really enjoy what I do, having these people come on and tell their stories. I hope you guys are enjoying them as well. And thank you again for making this what it is. On this episode, we have Rob Kwiczak. I hope I said his name right. I've seen him over on Instagram. He's been at the award shows, the expos, does a lot of stuff with the Central Therm products. And he's also from Canada. So he's going to talk about being in many different corners of the trades, plumbing, HVAC, running his own business a couple of different times, and also helping out behind the counter. This guy's kind of done a little bit of everything. So, we're going to sit down, talk about that. And there's a lot of nice little tips and bits of information that you can take away from this episode. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. How are you, man? How's everything? How's life?
Yeah, really good. Fantastic. Things are going well. I actually have some exciting news. I actually changed jobs actually really recently. So things are going really, really well. Trial by fire so far, but yeah.
Well, that was gonna be one of my questions. Like, do you have your own business, or do you work somewhere?
Yeah, so for years I've owned and operated R&J Mechanical, which
okay.
A lot of people know me for, and through Instagram and social media and stuff. I recently came back from to Alberta, where I grew up, from BC, and so things are a little slow. I'm kind of 30 plus in the industry years,
okay.
An opportunity came up after the Miami Central Therm thing came in, and I actually jumped into manufacturing sales. So I joined up with Pro Sales, formerly Caden Sales, and riding that boat now. So it's a lot of fun.
So did you close up shop then?
Not necessarily. I'll work for family and friends and neighbors and things like that in my little
You're
community.
just you're just leaving it open,
Yeah,
not completely closing it. That's cool, man.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't totally go off all the tools. I gotta stay active.
yeah. In this trade, I mean, there's so many things you can do. So like opportunities are like around every corner. So
Yeah,
especially nowadays, if you can get a nice job that doesn't require you to be on the rooftop on in the sun, all day. I mean, it's nice to have that option too.
yeah, yeah. And I look forward to the opportunity too to really share a bit of my knowledge. Like I mentioned, 30 years in the industry. Um, I see a huge gap, and I know it's sales, but it's also lunch and learns, and I'm representing a product, but um, it helps wholesalers, it helps their counter staff, it helps many people and contractors that I meet. Um, so it's sort of a win-win for me because I like coaching and mentoring.
Yeah, that's always good when you can pass on knowledge to the next generation, the people coming in, helping them out. I mean, that's what it's about. And I think that's what the community on Instagram and YouTube and all that, that's what that helps with. There's less like going after each other and there's more like helping each other,
Yeah.
which is what I've seen you. I don't think we've run into each other, right? Because you've been at the tactical awards, you've been to I'm assuming you went to AHR and then you went to the Central Therm, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it's been a roller coaster of fun actually the past couple of years. Yeah, I started Instagram a few years back. Met some pretty cool people. Um, a bit of a funny story meeting Leslie the pipe wench. We've become great friends.
I was
Uh,
gonna say I saw you with Pipe Wench and with I think his name is Ty Ice Master,
yeah,
hanging out and doing some stuff a lot on your Instagram.
yeah, really fun. And I met Leslie in BC. We actually lived very close to each other, and so she was really heavy on the plumbing side. I was doing a lot of HVAC, ventilation stuff, heat pumps, things like that. So we kind of played off each other for work and things like that, because a lot of times you'd get both. You'd quote both jobs, and I'll do one thing, and then I hired her to help me out and stuff. So and then yeah, Ice Master Ty, he's a great guy. I actually just met up with him a couple days ago. Um, uh, yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, knows a lot about refrigeration, commercial refrigeration. So we had great chats about that, because that's a little foreign to me.
Yeah,
Um, if I mostly do a little bit of resi, so
yeah, I had seen that. That's really cool. I didn't know you all were also working, or feeding each other work because I've heard of that from other guys that most of the guys that I know do residential, right? And they'll get people that help them do like installs or something else because they do service and they actually meet people on Instagram and then they end up like, oh, I live down the street from you, and they help each other out. It's like,
yeah,
who would have thought that?
yeah.
So that's really cool that you had Pipe Wench help you out with the plumbing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a good working relationship too.
Because I will say it is hard to find good technicians and good people that actually do good work. Because that's a problem I have around here. It's like I kind of don't trust. Some people are like, if you're gonna subcontract out something, that's your name on that job too, right? So like, it's cool that this community, Instagram, whatever it is, kind of brings people together that are like-minded and all are proud of their work or do good work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also look at it as a bit of a resume too. The
Oh
stuff you're
yeah.
posting. I know it's all the fancy bling stuff. You have good days, bad days, things go sideways or whatever. But, what you post is who you are. And, I'm proud of the work that I do. I always, tell my apprentices or people working for me, I mean, that's a rubber stamp on your work, and you got to stand behind it. Whether it's, warranty or maintenance or longevity, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause, and that's another thing. I see all these people posting and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I wish you like worked in my area. I would just like you said, it's like a resume. I would just hire you on the spot, dude. I like, because I do a lot of service work too, and I need like people to help us with like installs. And even right now I'm just like so backed up because I'm in Texas. It gets hot like in March and April, so we've been backed up for a while, and right now it's like 110 115 degrees, and everybody's AC just like quit. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I really could use the help right now. So we do have a few guys that help us with the change outs and stuff like that. I got a helper that's like part-time when he has time. And I got to make sure that they do good work and they kind of do things the right way. That's always the hard part. This podcast is presented by Local. Local works tirelessly to help HVAC contractors rank higher on Google. They use an attack methodology to make sure that contractors dominate their local service areas and increase their market share and generate higher revenue. Reach out to Local at localhq.com/reliable. Mention me or the Reliable HVACR podcast, and you'll get 2 months of SEO for free. SPECTROLINE leak detection, the highest quality and brightest fluorescent leak detection products on the market. Get the job done right with their 2-in-1 premium UV dye and powerful AC sealant Glow Seal. I've actually used it. You can extend the lifespan of your equipment, find and seal the smallest and hardest to find leaks. It works 24/7. Once it's in, it's always on. This product works when you're not there. The only focused leak detection company with success in many industries, because believe it or not, it's in most vehicles out on the road right now. So if you guys want to find out more, go to spectroline.com and let me know what your favorite leak detection method is.
Going back to social media and stuff and those resumes and whatnot, I mean, coming from BC, there's always this camaraderie and Instagram and meeting people and joining group chats and things like that. So moving back to Alberta, which is the next province over, it's proposed a bit of a challenge because not a lot of people are on social media out here. I mean, I'm finding the odd person that's posting,
Okay.
but very sort of get the work done, get in, get out. So I see it as an opportunity to, when I'm doing, now I'm going to be doing counter days and meeting contractors, and hey, you're on your socials, let me know, like, let me see what you're doing, and, and getting that sort of connection. Because I love building relationships and meeting people. That's one of my things that I love to do.
Yeah, that's really cool that you get to do that. And to be honest, I mean, social media is only like a fraction of the actual like technicians out there. There's so many good ones that you just run into at the supply house or just on the day-to-day. And that's kind of cool that you're going to get to, meet, shake hands with all those guys. Supply house is always a good place to also just talk shop if somebody needs help. Like we give out work that we don't want, and we take work that other people don't want. We network. That's always my biggest thing, is like network with other companies if you can, because I hate doing residential. I'm a commercial strictly guy. So any residential calls I get, I prefer to give them to somebody else. I do have a couple of buddies that have their own company too. And then I network with like electricians and plumbers, and just like you with the pipe winch over there.
Yeah.
You give each other work, and that kind of helps you stay in business and make connections. So that's a cool little gig that you have now. I will say my cousin used to work at our supply house here, and I've said it plenty of times. I miss when he worked here because he did all the like the barbecues and getting guys together. Like it was always like, a fun time, like on Fridays and stuff. But he moved on, so we don't have those
Well,
anymore.
you learn a lot, sitting down to eat with guys. You chat about jobs. You chat about their struggles, what their pain points are. You know, it's great. And maybe I know something a little bit about it, and hey, have you tried this? It could be something I rep, or it could be something totally different. So those conversations, those sit downs are super important. That I remember. Johnny from Seiko, it's all about the people, and they're those building relationships and fostering those are super important.
Which is cool that you're kind of on both sides now, because that's something that I've seen more companies do now, right? Is like pay attention to the customers, the technicians. Like you said, you mentioned Takeo. I know they had a big party in Chicago, and they do that every year, and they want to get everybody together. The supply houses, it's cool when they do that. Like you said, like you get to sit down and eat with these people, because when it's free lunch, all the companies show up and hang out and just kick back for an hour and whatever, and you get to talk to all the guys that are out there, because on the day-to-day you're that's your competition, so you don't really talk to them until you actually get together, just hanging out, eating or something like that. And you can find out you have a lot in common with technicians here and there, or you're not going to know everything, right? So it might be good to know somebody that does something that you don't do. Like I said, like I get to know the residential guys, because that's not something I like to do, or anything like that. Or maybe I don't deal with a certain manufacturer. Like right now I'm having an issue with the Ream Rude, trying to get parts for stuff like that, and I got to reach out to guys that actually deal with them. So all those help out in the end.
Yeah, exactly. You touched on competition and things like that. When I shot out to BC, I was out there for just 5 years, and the big thing was, what everybody talks about, it was community over competition. It was, it was something to live by, and I love that motto. We entered the bed races, and I put all my swag on it and made this bed the fastest bed.
Is that what it was? A bed race?
Yeah, so you build a bed, or take an old bed and put wheels on it, and you have an obstacle course. So you just go one end of the parking lot and back, and the fastest time wins. Right? It's a fun little community event that we did, and I had guys, myself, Leslie, the pipe winch, and some other guys in Salmon Arm that were just, let's go, let's do this. We'll do this plumbing bed, and did this competition. It was super fun. But it's those relationships you build. Now that guy in Salmon Arm he phones me all the time, Gary. It's those relationships that you build. Hey, I'm working on NAVIEN. Help me out. Like, I've got this error code. I don't know what it is, and so I feel all kinds of calls like that from those relationships that I built.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. I had seen that. It looked very fun. And the whole, like you said, you had it all decked out with your logo and name and everything, and I was like, oh, man, that looks like fun.
On the back.
Yeah, that looked like fun, man. But how cool has it been to go to how long have you gone to, or how many years have you gone to, like, the AHR, the tactical award shows?
Well, it was funny. I'm a bit of a freshie when it comes to Instagram and stuff. It wasn't my first go-to thing, but when I started, it was really cool meeting people, Leslie, and some great contractors. I was like, oh wow, he does some great HVAC work. Start following people and things like that, and then reacting, and heard about the HVAC Tactical Awards and the HR, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a riot, and that recognition for HVAC techs. So it was really neat doing that, and then I get this audio message from Ben Poole, like, hey, dude, I love your work, and I'd like to nominate you for an award. I'm like, what? What, me? Like, looking behind me, like, what are you talking about? And so I was nominated for Hidden Gem in the Atlanta HVAC.
Oh, that's right. Award.
Yeah. So, you know what, I was like, well, okay, I have to
Wait,
go.
I was like, I know I've seen you somewhere. That's where it was. I was drawing a blank right now because when you were talking about, it, I'm like, yeah, that's true. So,
Yeah.
Hidden Gem, that's the one in Atlanta. Was you? Was that with Jeffy Pipes?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't remember the other guy, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I saw Jeffy's work and I'm like, yeah, I don't have a chance, but whatever.
yeah.
um,
That kid does amazing work. I got to talk to him, and he's a good dude.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Lots of good people, going to that award show and then at AHR, seeing all the different booths. I got to meet some great people, manufacturers. Infra Air are a great bunch of folks there. They're manufacturing reps as well too, and good getting invited to being on the A team. This Canadian,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but we all get the A team, the classic '80s A team, but it's EHA team.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
a play on words.
I've seen it. There's a lot of Canadians on, and that one too at Atlanta. I think a lot of Canadians won those awards too. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, I became good friends with Matt Waxer.
Oh
He's a
yeah,
great
good.
dude. He works on all those Aeon units. Wow, big stuff he works on.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. I see his work or his posts. I'm like, I don't know what any of that is or does, but it looks really cool.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Lots of great people. Yeah, HVAC Jess is on there. She does refrigeration as well. We got to hang out with her.
I'm actually very surprised at how many people from Canada have been to those, like the AHR and the tactical awards. And like I said, a lot of them were nominated because they do fantastic work.
Yeah.
So the Atlanta one, was that the first time you've heard of it and went to that?
Yeah, first time, first time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I at that time I was using the Air Excellent, the Centrotherm, and the Innoflu stuff, so I got to know those guys really well. Um,
I love Matthew from Central
yeah,
Therm.
yeah, Price is a great guy. Yeah, for sure. He's super fun to hang out with. Yeah, um, and
He does like so many things too. Like
yeah,
that dude's multi-talented.
yeah, yeah. I just on the ride home there the other day, I listened to you guys' podcast, and yeah, he's super multi talented, good guy. Um, you know, always on quick to respond to a message, or like the local rep Dan Smith is here in Alberta. Quick to answer any questions, problems, product stuff. So I was using it a lot in BC
Hmm.
because we were doing heat pump systems with no air exchange, right? So the air excellent system we would throw into a new home, and yeah, I mean it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty great stuff to work with and fast and
But
uh,
that's the cool part about going to these things is you get to see, the companies that do care,
yeah,
um, interact with them and talk to them. And I've met so many of them when before, like you wouldn't get to know them like that. You would just go into a supply house and get their product off the shelf and
yeah,
be none the wiser, right? You don't know anything about the company or the people there. But if you go to, because I get some people don't like the whole expo thing because it's like, it costs money. I know it you got to fly out, you got to do all this stuff, but the experience is really awesome because I mean, I'm going to network like somewhat, but I'm going more for like as far as like business networking and all that, you do get some of that, but it's more about the people that you meet. So it's all the, like you said, they're the marketing team essentially, but they're really good people. Like people at Central Therm, even SPECTROLINE, I got to meet them there.
yeah,
All the people from JB, like you name it, like everybody's there, and you
yeah,
get to talk to them. And on top of that, you get to do or get to demo their tools, see what they got coming out.
yeah,
Um, I've never
yeah,
done any other competitions, but those look fun too.
yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, it's pretty cool. The demos and whatnot. I really enjoyed AHR. I'm really hopeful I can go to the Florida one there coming up next year. Um, yeah, it's such a great time meeting those people. we met so many folks. You could see by the end of the HR, they're tired. We're hanging out, and
My
everybody's
feet were
exhausted because you
my
go
feet
walking
were
for
hurting
a
so bad.
while. Yeah. So we're like, me and Leslie we were like, you know what, we should do like our own little side event. I'm like, yeah, great, let's do it. So we heard about this place in Atlanta. I think it's called the Red Booth or the Red Door. Anyways, I can't remember, but we made a reservation. There's a minimum bar tab. Yeah, let's do it. We went through the AHR and invited every vendor. We got Takeo there. We got NAVIEN. We got all the reps there. We got some social media guys, Adam Gordon, Terrence, Ken from Impetus, and just a ton of people. And we're like, okay, let's go. Open bar. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, man. I got to go to like a one or two things, and I was too tired to do anything else. So there was a night or two that I just stayed in because I was out of it. But it's definitely fun, and those are the other things. Is like I said, I've been to like 3 now. I think I went to the Vegas one. Yeah,
Okay.
Vegas, Atlanta, and then Chicago. Those are the 3 that I've been to. So I've seen, I walked around enough. Where this time in Chicago, I was just trying to see as many people as I could, right? Like everybody flies in together. I know, and I missed half or the what do you call it? The cocktail hour for the award show, so I didn't get to mingle then. So during AHR, I was trying to stop with everybody and chat.
Yeah, I mean, we were standing in line to get into the tactical awards, and I was looking down the line, and I said to Leslie, because we traveled together, and I leaned over to her. I said, I think my whole Instagram feed is here.
And that's the cool part. That's what I tell people. Like the cool thing about being on Instagram, I mean, you don't have to be a full blown content creator, right? Just post some pics before and after. And like you said, it turns out that it could be like a resume for you, or if you run a business, I always tell people that's a really good way to market your business is before and after pictures or install pics, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, get into the community and interact with people. Cause then like when I went to Vegas the first time, I didn't know too many people. Right. So it was okay. It was really cool. Me and my brother got to walk around and kind of just take it all in. Right. We were just amazed with all the stuff that they managed to fit in that place. I was like, how the hell did they get all this equipment in here? But it's cool.
Yeah.
In Chicago and then the other one, I was like, it just felt nicer that I knew everybody there, right? You know them from Instagram, you've talked to them, you follow them, you feel like you know them pretty well. And then you get to something like the award show, the HVAC Tactical Award, or the HR Expo, whatever it is that you go to, and you just hang out. Like you already know them, you hang out, you talk to them. Even if it's the first time meeting them, it feels like you know them already. That's a cool part. Today's episode is also brought to you by NAVIEN. If you haven't seen it yet, NAVIEN has entered the HVAC space in a big way with the new NPF hydro furnace. This hydronic forced air furnace delivers industry-leading variable capacity operation from 15 to 100% in both natural and propane configurations. You can learn more at navieninc.com. I also want to thank DIVERSITECH. They simplify your work. They have everything a contractor needs to complete a job. That goes from equipment mounting, condensate, management, tools, maintenance chemicals, electrical components, indoor air quality, and much more. If I go look at my van, like half of the stuff, including parts, is from a DIVERSITECH branch. They have different branches under the same umbrella. More than likely, you're already using some of their products or tools. So go check out DIVERSITECH.com, and it's your one-stop shop for everything HVAC.
Going to, being invited, I was invited to go to Miami as well through the Centrotherm Squid Games. And
oh yeah, you have to tell me how that was, because it looked like amazing, dude.
Yeah, it was off the hook. It was just unreal. So much fun. I'd never been to Florida, and wow. it was, you know, the games, the people there, the you know, I was even in. I had no idea, but you know, got a fair bit of experience with the Air Excellent product, and lo and behold, that's the finale. So they're like, oh, we need a coach for both finalists. So Dan comes up to me. He's like, well, you've done a lot of that work. And I said, yeah, of course. Well, can you help Alex Bischoff from Howard Mechanical? I'm like, absolutely, I can help him. You know, you can't touch tools, just guide him. And, you know, I was like, it's right up my alley. Let's go. So it was so much fun. It was in the place they held it. It was, I can't remember the name of the building, but it was just this big white dome or the projectors. It was just unreal. It was like being in the movies. It was just, you know, the red carpet up to the building, and it was an epic event.
And that's cool because and again, I know there's people that don't like these things. Like for us as contractors or technicians, like that's kind of our also like our getaway or vacation type of deal. Get to go hang out with friends because like what else do we do all year round? Like it's hard for us to get out, take a break, all that kind of stuff. That's where you do that with other, like I said, like-minded people and all that. And everybody loves their family time, and I mean, everybody takes their wives too. Like it's a family type of event too. You can take your wife and
100%.
your spouse and whatnot, and most people did. I saw like Tyler Dines with his. Even Jake from HVAC Nights brought his wife out. She had a hard time keeping up with Jake because Jake was just running around the whole expo, but she made it through.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So let me ask you. I know we've already gotten into half of the show here, but so you're from Canada then, right? You had your own company. How long have you been in the trades?
Yeah, so I've been in the trades for 33, 34 years. I started out in plumbing in Calgary, Alberta, with a mechanical contractor, doing a lot of gas work for a local utility. We did insurance work for fire restoration companies, things like that. So so when people ask me, like, you know, what kind of HVAC do you do? Well, I'm heavy on the H and the V, but not so much on the AC and the refrigeration side. A little bit in the resi. So yeah, a lot of gas work. And then I loved working with, you know, gas lines, gas utility stuff. So I actually jumped into the utility role. I always like to do little 5-year plans. You know, like I tell, or if I'm mentoring anybody or whatever, make little plans, write them down, own it, little incremental goals. But my 5-year plan was to get on with utility, learning everything I could as a technician, so emergency response stuff. So, you know, things go boom in the night. You're there to make sure nothing does. So I learned all that, and then I got into management actually, and that was my next goal. Is, you know, I wanted to become a supervisor and a manager and things like that. So I took all the courses, did all the management degrees and things like that. In between that, I owned my own company for a long time in the 90s. Did that with gas, and then did my utility stint. And then I went back to owning my own company because I really love it, and moved out to BC and spent there with more of the HVAC, the ventilation and air conditioning stuff. So it's been a long journey, lots of stuff in between. That
Yeah,
I'm just grazing over.
a little bit of everything there, basically.
Yeah, and you know, I've I'm a big you know, just knowing Leslie, I'm a big supporter of women in trades. So, you know, when I hire apprentice, I hired a young lady that took her first year through college, and then started her apprenticeship, and just a leg up there, and just coaching her to be, you know, the best she can be, and within a year, she's with a big company and doing refrigeration work. And I, got to know her a little bit. Now she's on the refrigeration side, because I thought, that's a great avenue for you. She was a bit technical, and
Yeah.
and yeah, so I love supporting women in trades. When I'm a wholesaler, I see a lady at the counter. I'm like, yeah, you know, I, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love it too. I've been trying to get, some women in the trades on the shows as well, and I always find it fascinating because some of them do way more stuff than I even do, and it's like amazing. Um, it's not about the gender; it's just about the person and what kind of work they do.
yeah,
So that's really cool. So you got to train her and kind of get her going on her career there.
yeah, yeah. It was actually a lot of fun, and yeah, just watching her braise and do some, asking the questions. Okay, why are we doing that? What's ventilation? Why do we need air exchange? And
So she asked a lot of questions too.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
I encourage it.
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and you're not bugging the journeyman. I mean, as a journeyman, I see, and a lot of comments and posts and things like that about journeyman, that, oh, this journeyman was horrible, and we gotta ourselves have to be, get into that mentor mindset, and lift these people up instead of pushing them down. Hey, just don't be that just get that tool kind of person. Let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going to try and walk you through it. I'm going to do the work because you're not quite ready or whatever. But this is why I'm doing it. This is the steps that I'm going through to install this, and this is why. We have to be better teachers.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood. It's that sun is beating down on me. I'm like, nope, let's just get out of here.
Yeah,
I'll explain it later, but I know I need to be better about it too. But I also work with my family, so like my little brother works with us, and I think he just gets on my nerves a little bit quicker than others.
totally
so
fair.
I mean, I've trained him too. I've shown him how I do things, and
Yeah,
he'll ask questions. He's more of a, I don't know if he has OCD or not, but he's more of that kind of, everything has to be perfect, lined up, and done properly, which um I'm not gonna steer him away from that. That's like a good trait. It's something that I don't really have all the way. It's like I take pride in my work, but I want to get it going and stuff like that. He's a perfectionist, and he's the one that does things, step by step, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's great. And he went to the same school that I did, so he knows what I know.
yeah,
And
yeah. My brother
it,
too. I worked with him for about a year and a half, and he was just fresh into gas fitting and gas work. We, we were installing a lot of fireplaces at the time, and yeah, it was quite a story I got. Is he was doing the flue, extension ladder. It was only one story up, but he learned pretty quick not to hang on to that brick extension, because the customer was behind me. He says, "I think your partner just fell off the roof." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? What?" I look over, and here's my brother just rubbing his chest. And I'm like, "What the heck happened?" He's like, "Well, I grabbed the brick chimney and I fell backwards, but like when I landed, I fell so hard my knees hit my chest."
oh man.
He's got two big bruises on his chest. I'm like, "Dude, you got to strap your ladder down. You got to don't rely on brick to hold you up."
Man,
He was okay, but I was just like, that's one of the craziest stories I've had, for sure, working with my brother.
yeah, like I work with family, and I get so upset when they're not safe about things, and I get it. We in our trade, I mean, it's kind of dangerous. There's sketchy stuff that you're gonna run into.
Yeah.
But man, I get so upset when, like, something almost happens or whatnot, and you just got to be
It
careful
scares
out
you
there.
into, having, a lot of companies do hazard assessments and things like that, but you, those hazard assessments are great, watch for falling objects that, mitigate as much as you can. But, you know, after 30 years in the business, I mean, it can be a bird that flies by. You're never gonna see everything on that
Yeah.
checklist, right? That scares you off, or a bee's nest, or doing refrigeration. I mean, those are nice little pockets where the controls are. Once you take that lid off, there's all kinds of stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of get scared into safety sometimes.
Yeah, and then I'm just getting older, so I'm like I'm not dealing with all this. I've had knee surgeries and stuff like that because I used to be in sports, and it's just I tell people I'm really feeling it this year. I need to start using some knee pads. I make sure my ladders are secure all the time, and you just got to be careful out there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've kneeled on so many screws in my life. A long time ago, I bought those Snickers. I don't know if you ever heard of the brand Snickers. They
I don't
they
think
have the
so.
stretchy pants with the knee pads and construction pants. I just love them. Uh, Chris from PS the plumber just did a post 6 months ago about the pants. He's like, yeah, dude, I love those pants. So you have to have them
Yeah, I
because
got
you
to get
learn
something
pretty
like
quick.
that.
Yeah, when you get a screw in the knee, it hurts, man.
You've been in over, or you said 33 years. You ran your own business. Was that something that you always had in mind to do? Your business, work for yourself, or was that a spur of the moment type of deal?
Um, as an apprentice, I worked for a small company, doing new housing and in Calgary we did Jansen Homes and some stuff like that. And I saw it was a good introduction to owning your own business because I saw him manage everything himself. He didn't have an accountant. He didn't have all that sort of stuff. So it made it attainable. So and he's doing well. I thought, you know what, that's a good route. I mean, working for somebody's great. I loved it. Um, I worked for him for about 10 years. Then we mainly focused on fireplaces, and the manager of the fireplace company said, my boss is getting stretched out and it's getting too thin and can't meet appointments and stuff. Are you interested in doing this? And I was like, okay, well, I got to talk to my boss because I don't want to create uh, bad business. So he said, yeah, that's a contract that I'm willing to let go and go for it. Good luck. So I jumped into that and owning a key to gas fitting, which was a lot of fireplace work. In and out, I do 3 a day and 3 fireplaces a day, just running gas lines.
So that
And
was your first business?
very first business, yeah.
That was just fireplaces?
Yeah, just hooking up fireplaces. That was when iron pipe was the only way to hook things up.
Oh, okay.
Then they delved. The municipality said, yeah, no, okay, now you can use copper, right? So we're like, oh, great. You can do seamless tubing, buy a 60-foot length, run a gas line because you don't need a huge load. It's 15 to 30,000 BTUs. You run a piece of 1/2 inch 30 feet to a fireplace, you're done in and out in a couple hours. So I was able to do 3 a day, but that was my first business. It was great. It was very lucrative, and I enjoyed that. Did
And
that.
the other the oh, I'm sorry. The other one, it was R&J. Was it mechanical?
Correct, yeah. So
What kind of work were you doing with that one?
for R&J Mechanical, it was mostly HVAC stuff and plumbing. So I was doing, I I wasn't a big fan of doing plumbing, to be totally honest.
Oh, okay.
I got my journeyman in that, and I never really super enjoyed it. That's why I sort of steered to the gas side of things. I like more technical work, right? Doing load calcs and all that sort of stuff, calculations. So so that's why the beauty of moving to BC and meeting a plumber out there where there was a need for both. I was like, okay, well, I can do plumbing. I know everything about plumbing, but I could do double up on contracts. So I was like, hey, Leslie, can you help me with this plumbing? I could quote it, and then work with her to get the job done. So R&J Mechanical, it's nothing special. It was just family names, Rob my wife's name's Nikki. My daughter's name is
Mm.
Jasmine. So R&J Mechanical is just a super simple name. Not too creative
Yeah,
on that one. But
yeah, man, it looked good. It looked good and it flowed nice, so
yeah,
it's good.
yeah, cheers. Yeah, thanks.
So where was that one? Um, what service area were you with R&J?
Yeah,
Because it was
so after I left the utility company, I was there close to 10 years in a management role. We came to a point where we're like, okay, let's sort of soft retire a little bit. Um, Still work, but it's not the hustle bustle stress. So we moved to BC. So in the transition from Alberta to BC, which is, like for you guys across the state, we
okay.
moved provinces. So it's a 10 hour drive through the mountains to BC. So I started my R&J Mechanical company in Alberta, moved to BC, and did that for another 5 years doing that.
And
Mostly,
what kind of weather did y'all get out there? Like, do you get all the seasons, or what was it like over?
we were well, I'd like to call it the banana belt of Canada. So we were moving from like ridiculously cold winters and
Yeah,
late springs, early falls to real, nicer weather, early springs. The temperatures didn't get crazy, but where I lived was near Rainier Lake, so when it snowed, it dumped. Like we would get 3 feet of snow. I'm shoveling my roof, kind of thing. So we lived in an amazing spot in BC. It was, like I said, it was right near the lake, and so we'd see all the boats coming by in the spring, and then
yeah,
fall would come, and then we see all the skidoos come by, right?
got.
So it was,
I only ask because I'm in Texas. It's hot all year round, so I'm always curious. What kind of seasons y'all get when I got people on the show.
yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, and we had some ridiculous snow. We did a lot of snowshoeing. Right where we're at, we're on the side of a mountain, right? So we get a lot of bears, we get a lot of cougars. I had to actually put cameras around my house, four cameras all the way around the house, because the wife was a little afraid to go outside at times, because in spring and fall they're waking up, or fall they're trying to find all the fruit, right? So we had bears come right up to our door.
No way.
Literally back to our door, and we on our front deck we had two fighting in the middle of the night, and we could hear them. We had conservation come put a bear trap in our driveway. Yeah, it was quite
Interesting.
interesting. Let's call it that. Yeah. Sure.
I was like, well, I'm in Texas. I mean, some places here they deal with, like, I don't know, rattlesnakes, and I think there's an area that has coyotes and stuff like that. But, like, I don't know, where I live, I don't have to deal with any of that. Because I was talking with Jake on HVAC nights, and he's in Florida. He's had bears and alligators and I don't know what else pop up on his videos, and I'm like, nope, I don't care for that. Don't see it. I'm good.
Yeah, pull the chute on that one.
Yeah, man. So then, did you do schooling or did you learn on the job?
Yeah, so it was, yeah, that's an interesting story actually. I have for that one. Alberta at the time in the 88, 89, 1988, 89, they actually implemented a program for plumbing apprentices in general. That it was an incentive for business owners to hire more apprentices. So they would actually have a grant. If you signed up, they would pay half the apprentice's wage. So at the time, I think I was making 11 or 12 bucks an hour as an apprentice, and they would
Yeah.
pay $5-6 of it, right? So it was a huge incentive, and that's how I got my job. But before that, take you back a bit. I was in high school, and there was a trade high school, so it was a trade oriented. So you could take auto mechanics, HVAC, or plumbing. And at the time, I was like, well, I'm pretty mechanical. I like working on motorbikes, and I like taking stuff apart, putting them back together again. So I chose the plumbing. Met this great teacher You know, it was just amazing. So I kept taking it throughout high school, and it actually gave me, I think it was half the year towards my first year apprenticeship. So that was great. And then I got this grant. So my boss was like, "Yeah, let's hire her. Let's go."
Oh yeah.
And then after I took my apprenticeship, it's a 4-year program. I actually went through the whole thing. The Alberta government phoned me after I graduated and said, "Congratulations, you're the only one to go through the program."
Oh really?
Yeah, out of the hundreds and hundreds of apprentices.
Dang.
But I finished it, and I was like, yeah, it was great. And before my dad passed away, he says, get a job with a utility, or you'll be set for life, kind of thing. And that always stuck in my head. So I started my company with doing gas work and stuff, and I thought, utility might be a good job. HVAC 604 in BC's. I posted something about tenure or whatever, and he says, "Yeah, Robbie K has been slaying BTUs since I was in diapers."
Yeah, I know Jay.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a character. Yeah. So then, okay, so then you've always been, I don't know if you've been mechanically inclined, but you've always liked tinkering with things, taking things apart, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and my old man, he liked working on cars. We had an old Mustang, not a fastback or anything. Like it was a Mach 2 thing, but I was really into Datsuns, Datsun
Okay.
210s. Like the rat sort of style, the boxy style. Now they're rally cars, right? So I worked on those things like crazy when they were easy to get. So I'd strip them down, put them back together, paint them, things like that. And then I morphed into motorbikes and stuff. Got a table, and when I was able to afford a garage, I actually built a few, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So
That's
do you
kind of
have some nice cars right now?
not cars. I mean, but I do have a custom motorbike. That's really cool. A 1979 Yamaha XS 650. So it's an old school, very old school style.
I guess I never thought about like motorbikes and stuff like that being like like essentially like classics, because like you, my grandpa was a mechanic, right? So he taught all his kids to work on cars and stuff like that. So then when I was growing up, my dad, my uncles, they knew how to work on cars. They would show me things here and there, and I'd help in the garage. I'd go to my grandpa's and go mess around in his garage too. And so growing up, they were all into what are now classic cars, right? All the 80s and
Yeah.
70s, Impalas, Chevys, like everything. And that's what I ended up liking too. We had a few that we worked on, and I like doing that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
So you got the classic motorbikes over there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's all sort of decked out, sort of like the band's shoe thing. So I've got the waffle everywhere, custom seat, custom tank.
Gotcha.
Exhaust is like the side swoosh on the Vans shoe, and it's pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to do a post one of these days, but it's pretty fun. I got some carburetor work to do on it, so it's not running right now. But when I fire it up, I'll tag you on it. But working on stuff really, I can chalk that up to sort of why I got into the trades. Really, I mean, it teaches you a lot of life lessons. Tinkering around in the garage and being with my dad, and okay, this part has to come off. How don't let the piece win. You got to take it off. We got to replace it.
That's what my dad used to tell me when I started in HVAC. He's like, don't let this piece of equipment beat you, right? Anything that I worked on. And then I'd finally figure it out, and he'd be like, great job. I'm proud of you, this and that. So, I mean, that's just something that always stuck out to me. Don't let it beat you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And busted knuckles, all that stuff, it's still got to come out. The
Busted
pieces.
knuckles, a lot of cursing here and there, and
Yeah.
it'll come right out.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And, being in the garage with your old man is valuable time.
Yeah, like I have like two brothers. They're very different. Like I said, my youngest brother works with us, and he does well. He has hobbies now where he does like woodworking and building stuff. Like he's more hands on with what he does. But he's a video gamer. He's that kind of kid. And my middle brother got into business. I think a business degree or something like that. Like he does accounting and stuff for a big grocery store here, and he's really good at that. People person, customer service, all that. I was the one that was, I guess, the most like my dad, right? So we shared that bond with sports. So we're both really big on basketball, NBA, stuff like that. And then I got into classic cars as well. As a matter of fact, he helped me get the one that I have right now. I have a 1963 Pontiac that I rode every week once we got in and fixed it up. Started breaking down, so I currently have it in his garage when we're gonna try and get it going maybe later this year.
Yeah.
It needs a little bit of work, but like I was the one with as far as like sports and working on cars and working on stuff around the house, like that's the stuff that I did with my dad. And then, like you said, like it helps you get into the trade and kind of that time that you get with your pops. It's good stuff.
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, my old man's not around anymore, so whatever I can do with my daughter had a child, so my granddaughter, I'm looking forward to some of those times um, with her. I did with my daughter as well too. Uh,
Did you only have a daughter or no
yeah,
sons?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we just had the one daughter, and yeah, she can she can do pretty much everything. Like she's
Yeah.
changed taps, she's changed thermocouples and furnaces.
Oh, okay.
She's like I wasn't gonna let her you know go through high school without learning
Yeah,
just
that's
key
how
skills.
yeah, that's how I want to be too, because I have two kids, so I have a son and a daughter. Funny enough, the daughter is more into what I do than the son, right? So
Right.
she's been out helping me with things in the van, and she wants to help build stuff. And essentially, like eventually I do want her to know how to do, like you said, basic things, right? Things around the house, know how to, check a few things on the car, maybe change a tire,
Yeah.
essential stuff, right? To help them get through
Yeah.
their life. And my son right now is getting into sports, so I'm kind of excited for that too. But I'm trying to do like what my dad did for me, with my kids and so on and so forth. And if
Yeah.
they ever want to work, they can come work for me.
There you go.
I would highly encourage it.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's
and,
awesome.
and like I said, the daughter might be better than my son at that. So we'll see.
Yeah, lift her up.
Oh yeah, I try to, as busy as we get, right? Like right now, I'm like, I was talking to the guys on Thursday, HVAC nights. I think it was through text though, and we were talking about work, and I'm like, dude, I am like, no, we were talking on Friday. I was like, dude, I'm so backed up that I'm trying to turn away work today. I want the weekend off. Like I am so burnt out, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But I try to balance that too, because I don't want to just come home and be too tired to be with the kids or anything like that, or have the family time. So that's very important to me. And I try to do whatever they want to do, right? If they want to go out, if they want to help me in the garage or in the van, I'm all for it.
yeah, yeah. Time well spent for sure.
I mean, that's everybody's important, and I'm glad whenever I ask people, like, as far as like hobbies or what they like to do in their time off, a lot of people's answers is family time. And I mean, that's great. I would assume it wasn't very hard for you to pick up the trades then, if you were kind of already doing things like that.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty good transition after working on cars because I wasn't sure if I wanted, because I was doing a lot of, like, growing up, I was doing a lot of cars, motorbikes, things like that. I had a Yamaha.
And you never wanted to go into that direction, like mechanic or anything?
Well, I had that choice. I was like, okay, going to mechanics in that school program, right? So there was an
Oh yeah.
automotive program, and I was like, oh, it really weighed heavily on me, and I was like, oh, what am I going to pick? And my dad just said, pick something that interests you a lot, right? Yeah, you got some experience in mechanics, but are you going to do that forever? You know, so set the bar. Go. Do something challenging. And then I took and he's like, well, if it's one semester, just do it, and if you don't like it, you know, uh, move on to something else, go back to automotive or something. So I chose plumbing, and it really helped get me into that apprenticeship program after, because it was a huge bonus. You get so many hours off your first year, so it was pretty easy transition. Yeah, but recognizing young folks, that are mechanically inclined, and making sure that they get their needs met, or encouraging people to join the trades, because I think it's
Yeah, because it shouldn't be like frowned upon or anything like that. Like there's some smart guys in this trade, and I've talked to plenty of them where it's
yeah,
like it goes over my head, right? And
yeah,
I'm just somebody who couldn't sit still. I still have a hard time because I mean I got to run a business. I got to be at the computer, doing things, right? Emailing, invoicing, quoting, whatever it is, doing business stuff. I still struggle with that part because I like to be just on the go, on the fly, working with my hands and stuff like that. So if you're that kind of person, the trades is your best bet
yeah.
because I could not see myself with an office job or anything at a desk all day. Like that would drive me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, myself included. Like, I didn't know I want to sit down at a desk.
That's why even now you're not closing completely down your business. You still want to have that,
Yeah,
I guess that option.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. And like, when I worked with the utility, I got into management, supervising. I managed 10 meter readers and 5 guys for pretty much half the province, and I really enjoyed it just because of the relationships. But it got to the point where it was in the office all the time, dealing with engineers, and different battles, right? And
Yeah.
and my daughter was just finishing university, and my wife and I were like, okay, well, my wife's a teacher, and we're like, okay, we've been doing this for 25 years. What's our next, whatever going to look like? So I just kind of said, well, I don't want to sit at a desk, for the rest of my life. I mean, it was a rewarding job,
Yeah.
but I wanted to open my own business again, and get with my hands. So that's when we moved to BC, and just get back into it. And, because your health also, you have challenges there too, right? I mean, you're sitting at a desk, and sitting is not all that healthy if you're not keeping up on your walks and your runs and your, all that stuff. So
Yeah, I complain that I feel old now and all that, but I'm still getting on the roof. I'm still pulling up compressors. Like I can still do that kind of stuff
yeah,
because that's the kind of work that we do, right? You deal with lifting and tight spaces and awkward things, and you're also working out your brain because you got to figure out all these problems and stuff like that. That's what gets me is all the different, um, like the labor intensive stuff. Sometimes it gets a little much, but it's it keeps you active, and then you're always thinking about things too. You're working problems and stuff.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, for sure. That's why I enjoy the trades, because you can get both. Depending on what field you're in, that opportunity to do either or is there for you. Um,
And if you want, you can go and be in a supply house. You can get into manufacturer type jobs. Like there's everything
yeah,
for everybody.
yeah, so many avenues.
So with all that hard work and stuff like that, what are your hobbies that you like to do or get your mind off of work?
You know what? It's a lot of it is shop time
Shop
and
time?
family time. Like getting in the shop and working on carburetors and
So
taking
working on other things after work.
right. Exactly. Yeah. Making things tick. I'm just wired that way. And maintaining things. Preventative maintenance things, housework. Um, that sort of stuff. I'm really mechanically sort of wired. So that I love. But I had a Harley for a while, and I really enjoyed touring with that, driving through the mountains, things like that. So I did some stints there, some bike shows and things like that. So that was a lot of fun. Met some pretty cool people.
So did you mostly do residential as far as HVAC work?
Yeah. It was really smaller heat pumps, and ventilation, a lot of ventilation. Yeah.
Did you ever dive into commercial or that you just stuck to residential?
Yeah, I tried. It was one of those lessons that I had from my old HVAC sort of journeyman, I guess. He was a good mentor, but he didn't really like to train that much. But the commercial that I did do, was rooftop units, so I do have some experience there. And the old school Linuxes with a rat's nest of wires,
Oh yeah.
relays, those old ones. That was sort of new when I was doing it, but I'm
I was
looking
gonna
at this
say
guy
when
like,
I was gonna say like I don't know which ones you're talking exactly, but like when I first saw a Linux that had, like you said, a rat's nest of wires and relays and boards and stuff, I had a holy crap moment because I was like, what is this?
yeah, I did the exact same. I was like, how are you gonna fix this thing? Like,
Yeah.
how do you? And he just kind of said, well, rule of thumb, with all these relays and whatever, so, just the low voltage tells the high voltage what to do. And I'm like,
Yeah, you gotta break
it
it down.
doesn't work for everything, but it's a good mentality. It's like, don't let the high voltage stuff, just because the compressor's not working or the fan, the high voltage stuff is not working. Well, it's probably because the low voltage. So don't be afraid. Just because the big stuff's not working, it may be a little bit. So that was a bit of a life lesson. I was like, yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah, that's a good point because I had to learn also to walk up to units and kind of go and like slow down. And I tell my guys too because they'll jump to, oh, like you said, the compressor's not coming on or something like that, and it's like, oh, it must be bad or it must be like something, like you said, it could be on the high voltage side or whatever.
Yeah,
And you go and check and like the transformer's tripped or you got a 24 volt wire that's rubbed out or something dumb that you just, quick fix and everything comes back on.
yeah, exactly. It's this. Don't go for the red herring.
Yeah.
And start and work your way back. Always start from the beginning and work your way
I
back.
had I had one with my brother that we were doing. I don't remember what kind of, I know it was a long day and we had a walk-in freezer at a hospital. That was always a little nerve-wracking, especially when I started. Because that's very important. It's a hospital. Freezer can't be down too long and because product goes bad. And we
Product.
were doing, yeah, we were doing something, and then we were gonna just turn everything back on, and it did not want to come on. I was stressing out. I was checking everything. I couldn't figure it out. And then finally, I just went and I started tightening down screws. And this was by the timer and the contactor.
Mhm.
And then it came back on. And I was like, really? It was a damn screw that was loose or something. And
Yeah.
I went back inside and I started yelling and cursing in the freezer. My brother walked in. He kind of backed out of the freezer and went to go tell my dad, like, I've never heard him yell like that. And I was like, okay, but I'm over it now. Like we got it going. I was all happy after I had my little vent there. But man, that one got to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it happens. I mean, brand new boiler right out of the box. You know, a combi boiler where a part's failing, and you're like, why? You're checking voltage. What's going on? Like, it's brand new, you know, and one harness just not clicked in. Just you know, it's working, but it's not working, and you know, periodically fails, and it's like, what, you know, just check all the connections, you know, like a car.
Oh yeah, now I check everything as far as like, are they tight? Are they wired in right?
Yeah.
After that day.
Yeah, well, even copper, you know, like the expansion contraction on copper wires and stuff, you know, you get one that is just off the screw just a little bit, it works, but it won't sometimes, but it will sometimes. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wild.
you see some crazy dumb things that can just frustrate the hell out of you.
Well, yeah, and you know, nothing's worse than standing there for an hour and a half and the customer's going, "What's going on?" And you're like, everything like is working as it should, and you're like, "Why is it failing?" Or you're an hour.
Yeah, I've been there plenty of times.
Yeah.
I try to, and those are lessons that you learn, like you said, and it's it'll stick with you. What I always tell people is, you'll remember all the screw ups you did, and then you'll remember how you felt after you fixed it. Those will always stay with you. So just remember that every time you go out to a call, like, you know, go simple and then work your way up.
Yeah, all those emotion based sort of reactions to, because you're just sweating bullets, right? You're just like, oh my god, and then that relief. Those are the stuff that you remember, and you know, life.
Yeah, like
Sure.
if anybody says they've, because I just go back to, because I do YouTube and Instagram and everything, and people in the comments will like come after you sometimes, and it's like, if you've never, if you said you never had a mistake, or you're trying to, you know, tell somebody else how horrible they are, like, everybody's been there, everybody's done the stupid mistakes, everybody's broken something or done something, you know, bad when they started. Like, everybody goes through it. So,
Yeah.
you know, don't even sweat it. That's how you learn, that like from those experiences and instances, that's how you really learn.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the more you have, I mean, I've been in the trades for a long time. I mean, a lot of control boards, a lot of HVAC stuff, gas, plumbing. You know, I get texts and phone calls. There, you know, and a lot of times it's you know, stupid stuff, and you just kind of state the obvious. Did you check this? Yeah, no, yeah, and then they call back, and yeah, I know, it's what you said. It was the simple one.
Yeah. I've only had a couple of instances where and I made sure I like triple checked, but I had a couple of, now over my 17 years, I've had like two compressors come dead on arrival for some reason. Like, one just instantly tripped out, overamped. You know, we've, and I'm like, this is brand new. There's nothing else wrong with the system. Like, we have it where we're starting it up and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna condemn it, and because I'm not gonna condemn it right away. I had to, like I said, triple check that it's nothing else, nothing stupid, because I've already learned from that. And I've caught or helped other techs where they want to condemn a compressor, and then it's like a wire issue or something like that. So just, you know, like, take it easy, go step by step, and then once you have enough experience, you can kind of trust your judgment. And
Yeah.
I try not to be too, I mean, I'm gonna second guess myself anyway if it's something like that, but like, try not to or try to trust your judgment with more experience that you get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Experience is key. That's what, you know, everybody says, and it's true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we've been here over an hour. I don't want to keep you too long, man. Is there any advice that you have for new guys out in the field? Because that's a lot of the viewership is the guys that are starting out, or the younger generation.
Yeah. I think a couple things, you know, be patient, you know, pick the right company to work for, find a good mentor, make a plan. You know, you know, you're new, start small. You know, I want to work with this tool. I want to work with that tool, get more experience, write it down, make a plan, like I said, and ask lots of questions. I don't mind taking questions, but, you know, having the right German with you to answer those questions, or hey, let's sidebar this and we'll talk about it in the van. That's cool too. You know, because frustration levels can climb, and just be open. And being a second or third year apprentice, you're experienced now. You're working sometimes alone or with somebody still. Lots, but be sure that that if something fails, you have somebody to lean on to, because you're at a point where lots of stuff, but you don't know how to get yourself out of trouble.
Oh yeah.
Right. So be keep an open mind about that.
Yeah, because I will say, or I will add to that, the more years you get, obviously the more experience you are, that's what helps, like I've said. Don't get cocky, but be confident in yourself.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's always good to have somebody help you out, because somebody might have 20, 30 years experience, and they're going to know, I don't want to say like the shortcut, but they'll know what to look for. Because I've had instances, because I went to school for this. I know, so much of the technical, the book stuff, and I thought I could fix everything. And then like I get to something that I've never seen before, and a journeyman will tell me like, oh, just do this or do that. That'll get you by, right? Or on a weekend call or something like that, after hours in the middle of the night, they know the little tips and tricks that'll help you get through, and get it going while you wait on a part or something like that, or jump to this or jump to that. Like, it's always good to know somebody that can help you out. But if not, I mean, experience is key. I said this plenty of times. I burned holes through copper. I've burnt boards. I've learned the hard way too. So there's a couple ways to learn this trade.
Yeah, for sure. And stay open to, be humble, but confident, like you say. That's a great comment too. Is don't be cocky, be confident, and because there's still lots to learn.
Always. I have
I'm
manuals. Yeah, I was like, we have to keep up with manuals and new technology and everything. And if you want to keep your brain busy, your mind busy, and be active all the time, just get in this and get into HVAC. It's always like that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. I appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us. I feel like we had a good conversation.
Yeah, it was great. It was super cool to meet you, and yeah, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Well, hopefully I get to see you at the next award show or expo or something like that, and we can hang out.
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming out, everybody watching and listening. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and see you guys.